for everybody's favorite guessing game, What's My Line? Brought to you by Remington Rand, makers of the world's #1 electric shaver, the Remington. Now, let's all play What's My Line?
Now let's meet our award-winning What's My Line panel. First, the popular Broadway columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in papers from coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
And on my left, we're very happy to welcome back tonight, fresh from the old sod, just back from his trip to Ireland, our favorite leprechaun, Fred Allen.
Thank you, Dorothy. And I didn't think that I'd have to come down here tonight, to tell you the truth, because when I got home, I found one of the new What's My Line games at the house. And I thought I was supposed to stay home and play the game at home tonight. I understand, incidentally, if you buy this game, the mystery guest that goes with it is a lady who's at my left, Miss Arlene Francis.
Thank you, Fred, and welcome back. And on my left, a gentleman who weathered the storm-tossed roads from Mont Kisco to New York tonight, dry of eye and behind the ears, I'm happy to say, Mr. Bennett Cerf.
I'm glad you didn't finish up where I was dry. Well, on my left, as a gentleman who also had to get through the storm, but as Herodotus has said about him, neither snow, nor rain, nor flood, no gloom of night has stopped this panel moderator from the swift completion of his appointed rounds, John Daly.
And for those old Greek scholars, he just gave me a fright. And tooth and exalaunai duo spadmos. And anybody who ever took Greek will shiver right in their teeth right now. Well, we're up to our old tricks on Sunday night, in spite of the fact that the Northeast has known some bad weather. We've managed to inveigle some very nice people with some interesting occupations to come and see us, and I think we ought to give the panel a chance to prove their usual talents and merits in this area. We'll have a famous guest challenger in, a few moments, but right now, I think it's time for these experts of ours to meet our first challenger. So would you sign in, please, sir? J.L. J.L. Goldberg. Is that right, sir? And where are you from, Mr. Goldberg?
New York City.
New York City. Well, you didn't have any trouble getting here tonight. So you're not all tired out, as Bennett Cerf is tired and I am tired. So take a hike, would you please, and let the panel get a closer look at you?
Mr. Goldberg, any relation to Rube Goldberg?
Hello, Mr. Goldberg.
I know him.
Glad to know you, Mr. Goldberg.
Hello, Mr. Goldberg.
Would you come over here and join me now? Here, Mr. Goldberg, and I would ask you, first of all, if you are familiar with our scoring system, are you?
I am, to some extent.
All right, fine. Every time you can say no properly, we flip a card, 10 flips, and you win the game. Now let's let the folks at home and our friends here in the theater know exactly what your line is.
Which oxymoron is true? Jumbo shrimp, military intelligence, or new vintage?
Where's my music?
BUZZR presents new episodes of your favorite vintage game shows.
Are you there?
That haven't been seen in years.
Where you got a load of this, Harry?
Get buzzed with new episodes.
Gratuity.
Tim.
Yeah.
Lose me way, boy.
Don't say we don't bring you culture.
Every day, right here on BUZZR.
I will tell you, panel, that Mr. Goldberg is salaried, and with that, let's begin the general questioning with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Mr. Goldberg, do you deal with both men and women in your work?
I do.
Does your work keep you in New York State most of the time?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Allen.
Why doesn't it keep you in New York?
That question cannot be answered. I knew when you went to Ireland we'd have trouble with you when you got back.
Well, I went out of the state. It's not bad, John, occasionally. Tell me, Mr. Goldberg, do you deal in services?
I do.
Are your services available for men and for women?
Correct.
They are. Do the people come to you for these services?
They do.
They come to you. Do you have an office of any sort where you work?
I have.
And do you have regular hours that you perform these services?
Right.
You have.
I would say this, if I may, to put it in the proper context in light of the answer that was given to Dorothy, that while Mr. Goldberg is from New York and may not be in New York to that degree, he has always, wherever he may go, a base of operations which may be described as an office and a working period which may be described as regular. Oh, there.
John, may I inject a non sequitur?
Yes, of course.
Do you think that Princess Margaret will marry Felix? But tell me, Mr. Goldberg, do you, in the performance of your services, do you wear a uniform or something different, some clothing different than you wear at the present time?
Different.
When you perform the services, do you touch the people in any way?
Do I what?
Put your hands on. I don't mean borrow money from them. I mean, that is a way of thriving, making a business thrive. But I mean, do you put your hands on them in any way? Do you touch them?
No, I don't.
You don't?
More conference, please.
Maybe he can't see what he does. Oh, occasionally.
Advice of counsel.
Well, John is a good counsel. Do you touch these people below the knees? Well, he could be a chiropodist.
Never reached that low.
Not that low.
2 down and 8 to go. That's a no answer, Miss Francis.
Mr. Goldberg, nobody's asked you whether there is a product involved in what you do. I suspect that there is not. Would I be correct?
You're right.
Oh, boy, did I get around that fast.
I have been cheated.
When you go around, are you in any sort of a vehicle of transportation in your job?
I am.
You are?
Naturally.
What was that?
Well, actually, the question was, are you in a vehicle of transportation as you move from one place to another? I've just pointed out that I thought properly the answer should be sometimes, because unless you can walk, you would be in some vehicle of transportation. And
well, he could go piggyback.
Do people in any way buy tickets in order to avail themselves of your services?
Wait a minute.
Maybe he's a pawnbroker.
Oh, come now.
Let's dispense with the tickets.
No ticket? No ticket, no washi?
No, actually, I would say this, that it's reasonable to presume that our guest might appear by accident or design at some sort of an occasion which would require ticket taking, but this does not necessarily mean that his presence would be requiring the ticket taking, you see.
I don't know whether I got a yes, a no, or maybe, or how have you been?
Yes, Miss...
All right, till I go on.
Excuse me, Arlene, but could I ask a question for purposes of clarification? We'll call it a conference.
Yes.
You can, as far as I'm concerned.
Because that last thing threw me all off. Are you talking about he can appear somewhere as a speaker or something and people would buy tickets, or are you talking about his work? We're trying to find out his work.
I would say that in the pursuance of his normal occupation, it is possible that he might appear somewhere where the taking of tickets would be a natural concomitant of the holding of the general gathering.
Now, do you know what he
But
means?
not necessarily be...
Go on, Arlene. I apologize.
We were better off before John started talking.
When you say that you wear something other than what you wear now, would it be a coverall to protect you against...
3 down.
Well, I didn't even get to finish the sentence. This is trouble I'm in.
3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Sir.
Mr. Goldberg, there's an air of elegance about you.
That's true.
Which leads me to wonder whether you have ever had anything to do with show business. No, you should.
4 down and 6 to go, and I'm going to give you 1 minute more because you don't seem to be getting close to it.
Mr. Goldberg, have you ever had anything to do with the judicial system of our country or state or locale?
Judicial system?
No.
No. That would be 5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Allen.
Well, do you, in the process of dispensing these services, do you, I pass.
I think you've got a wonderful idea, Fred. I'm going to flip in the towel for all of you. And I want you to meet Captain Joshua Goldberg of the United States Navy, naval champion and chaplain is what I was trying to say. He's known as the Navy's good luck charm. And I would say this, that we are particularly pleased to have Captain Goldberg with us because I think this week has a rather particular significance for the sort of thing that he's in the United States Navy for. So why don't you say a bit about it?
May I just say that I represent the Layman's National Committee that sponsors the observance of Bible Week, which begins tomorrow. All I can say to the very large audience, and with gratitude to the judges and yourself, Mr. Daly, make the Bible known, make it your own. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Captain. It's wonderful to have you.
Can you imagine TV without the deal of the day? The winning match.
Hi.
Well, maybe you can imagine it, but why would you want to? Primetime Buzz. TV just wouldn't be the same without it. Weeknights starting at 8, only on BUZZR. Let's play.
Didn't Dr. Goldberg get on the wrong program? Shouldn't he be on the 64,000?
I think he probably should. Well, panel, that was a very tough one. Let's see what you can do with the second challenger. Would you sign in, please, sir? Alfred Machino, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Well, where are you from, Mr. Machino?
Florida.
Oh, from Florida. Well, I'm a little embarrassed about talking to anybody from Florida tonight. It's been awful wet up here this past weekend. I understand that once in a while you have a little heavy dew down your way.
Yes, sir.
And I won't offer too many apologies. I've heard your dew has been a little heavy lately, too. So will you just give me my dew and walk down in front of the panel? Thank you.
How do you do,
Mr. Machino? You're not here with a due bill by any chance.
All right, Mr. Machino, will you go over here, please, and sit down? Do you know how we score this operation?
Yes, sir.
Well, fine. If you know how we score it, let's let the folks at home, our friends here in the theater, know exactly what your line is. Mr. Machino is self-employed, and let's begin the general questioning with Fred Allen.
Mr. Machino is your name?
Yes, sir,
Mr. Machino. The audience laughed when they were apprised of your occupation. Is it something that causes you to go around laughing all day long as you do whatever it is that you do?
Sometime.
Sometimes. But do you, is there a product involved in what you do?
No.
There is no product.
1 down and 9 to go, Miss Fred.
Well, that's
Funny.
Well, why is it funny that he has no product? Maybe he's just out of it.
He sold them all. Mr. Machino, you had quite a nice handshake. Does brawn have anything to do with your job? You're quite strong.
No.
No, I wouldn't think so. You don't have to be strong to do what he does. 2 down and 8
You have
to go.
to be weak to do what he does.
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Seth.
Mr. Machino, you just said you were from Florida, but you neglected to say what part of Florida. Was that deliberate, or...
Oh, actually, that was my fault, Bennett. I just got taken with the weather, that's all. Would you like to know what part of Florida
Yes, I
you
would, indeed.
Are you from the Miami area, around in there somewhere?
No, on the West Coast.
The West Coast.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
West coast of Florida.
You see, that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Mr. Machino, do you perform a service then?
Yes.
And you're self-employed?
Yes.
Do your extreme good looks have something to do with the service?
3 down and 7 to go, Miss Gilgallen. And Bennett, you will get the humor in this after a while.
Well, in other words, you could look any way at all and still do what you do. Does what you do benefit both sexes?
Yeah.
Would you say one sex was more benefited than another?
No.
No, I don't think so. To the degree that the service that Mr. Machino delivers does give some sense of well-being or pleasure or benefit to the sexes, I think we must hold that it is given equally. That's 4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Allen.
Does Mr. Machino have anything to do with animals? Well, the animals wouldn't care what he looked like, I mean.
Only indirectly.
Yeah, I would
Only
say
in
that
what?
Mr. Machino has something to do with animals in an indirect sense.
Well, is he engaged in any form of show business with the circus or anything like that?
Yeah.
You are? You don't? He has a large head. I don't think that he puts his head in the lion's mouth because...
That wouldn't be very indirect.
No.
It also wouldn't be a service either, except to the lion would have dandruff on his tonsils later on. But do you train animals in any way?
No.
That's 5 down and 5 to go, Miss Francis.
Is there something about you, Mr. Machino, that we cannot see that... I don't think I'll finish the sentence. That is what made the audience laugh. Is there something about you not visible to our eye here that makes you valuable in the job that you have?
You mean some physical attribute?
Yes.
That makes 6 down and 4 to go, Mr. Sir.
Mr. Machino, let's come right out with it. Is it Sarasota that you come from, and have you something to do with the circus?
Well, I come from Sarasota, yeah.
Well, then are you in some way connected with the Ringling Brothers Circus?
No.
Seven down and 3 to go, and I'm going to give you another 30 seconds.
Well, are you connected with any circus? Or have you been connected with any
Sometimes.
circus? Oh. Is what you do a performing service? Do you perform for audiences?
Yes.
Does your performing require some special agility, if not strength?
Does your performance require some special agility? I'm going to flip the cards on the basis of time. I think perhaps you would have gotten to it if we'd had another hour or two.
Oh, does he have a wild guess?
Yeah.
Is he a fire eater or a sword swallower?
Fire eater or sword
No.
swallower? No.
No,
He
okay.
plays the rear end of a horse. Mr. Machino, thank you very much.
That's
It was
fine.
wonderful having you with us. And I would say this for you, Bennett. Mr. Machino has appeared with the Ringling Circus, but he doesn't happen to be with them currently.
Where's the rest of him?
I just don't
How
know.
does he get away tonight?
He's
Yes,
attractive
sir.
enough to be the front end.
I think.
John, I think that requires agility, keeping out of the way of the front end.
Well, but I think that's forced upon you. It doesn't necessarily require a special skill. Well, we'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment, but first, let's listen to Dick Stock with a word from Remington Rand.
Friends, you're looking at the business end of a Remington electric shaver. And just by looking at it, you can see why the Remington will give you a cleaner, faster shave. It's because it's man-size. Let's count those heads. 1, 2, 3. Each one of them a double head. Each one a long head. Any way you look at it, the business end of a Remington shaves better than any other shaving method, wet or dry. Shaves clean with every stroke, too, because each one of those 3 heads passes over your face, one after the other. Each stroke with this big man-sized Remington is like 2 or 3 or even 7 or 8 strokes with the old-style narrow-headed shaver. You know something? That Remington shaves so clean, it can actually shave the short, close fuzz off a peach. I'd like to show you that, if I may. I removed that guard so you can see the peach fuzz fall. Now then, watch this. All righty. There it goes. It's just like snow, isn't it? Ah, that's wonderful. There you see that the Remington has shaved that peach clean without ever harming its tender skin. I'd like you to see what this business head of our big man-sized Remington can mean to you when it comes to a cleaner, faster shave. There's a dealer right near you who'll let you take one home on the 14-day free trial plan. Be sure you bring in your old standard-make electric shaver because it's worth $7.50 as a trade-in, and right there you're getting 50% more than anyone else offers. Give yourself a cleaner, faster shave. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Get that peach of a shaver, the man-size Remington electric shaver.
Now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity, for which my friends in the panel are blindfolded. Blindfolds all in place, panel?
Yes, sir.
Good. Will you come in, mystery challenger, and sign in, please? In the case of our mystery challenger, we go to a different form of questioning. You ask one question at a time in turn, moving clockwise, and we'll begin with Bennett Cerf.
Well, that torrential applause usually means somebody in show business. Are you so situated?
That's yes, Bennett.
That's yes?
All right, Miss Gilgallen.
Have you appeared on the stage?
Are you in television?
That's yes, too.
It's with the dog act.
He's the other end of that horse.
The rest of Mr. Machino.
Are you a leading man?
Man.
That's no. 1 down and 9 to
leading
go,
woman.
Mr. Cerf.
Are you a comedian?
That's 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Gilgallen.
Have you ever sung publicly?
That's 3 down and 7
is
to
it?
go, Mr. Allen.
Do you have a
Is it
regular...
yes or no?
Beg your pardon, that was a no.
Dorothy. Do you have a regular television show?
That's yes, Miss Francis.
Are you answering on a kazoo?
Well, we won't count that as a
Might be a
question. I will say it's legitimate as a question and something other than the normal human voice is being used.
Aha. All right, Bennett. It's something other than the normal human voice. You try to think of what that can be.
No, you can go on and ask another question, Miss.
Oh, I see. You're not counting that.
No.
Well, then, is it something, that which you are using, is it something you use in your work?
The answer is yes, Mr. Cerf.
Well, if it's some kind of an instrument you use it in your work, are you in some way connected with music?
That's yes, Miss Gilgallen.
Are you
Rather
a band leader?
That's yes, Mr. Allen.
Do you operate puppets?
That's no. 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Francis.
Are you associated with some specific instrument? Oh, a very small instrument.
Now, that's a yes answer, Mr. Cerf.
Have you got a beautiful wife?
You haven't looked so well lately from that answer.
You insulting womanhood with that answer right there.
That was a yes.
Oh, that was a yes.
And that's Miss Kilgallen next.
Is your wife in the movies?
No, that's 5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Allen.
You don't play a trumpet.
No, that's 6 down and 4 to go, Miss Francis.
Do you play a clarinet?
No, that's 7 down and 3 to go, Miss Stern.
Have you got any relatives who are also in the same business that you are?
3 of them.
I mean, yes?
Yes, that's a yes answer, Miss Kilgallen.
Are you Tommy Dorsey?
Yes, I think we have to give you a yes on Tommy Dorsey.
Is it both of them?
Jimmy.
Dorothy, Tommy, and Jimmy Dorsey.
Well, you know, with those two, you never can tell.
You never can tell. And the wonderful part about it was the questions just fell in line. When the question was asked to you, do you play the trumpet? Came time, for Jimmy to do it. When it's boing, and with the other side. So it was wonderful. We had you fooled, I think.
Where's your instrument?
Relative. No.
A mouthpiece.
Use the mouthpiece of their instrument.
I saw your bus out today. What was it doing out alone?
Well, we're working at Roseland tonight, and we're going down to Norfolk right after we get through.
Oh,
Playing at
good.
the Naval Academy there.
If the roads are open, you mean.
What's that?
If the roads are open, you're going.
We'll get there. We always do.
They have all locks on it. They do not.
Have you got the rest of the instruments so you can play us the tune?
That's all they brung with them.
Just came with a mouthpiece? Oh, that's mean.
Well, Tom and Jim, may I thank you both.
Thank you.
Especially with this trip ahead of you for coming down and seeing us. It was awful nice to have you in What's My Line. Would you say hello to the
Surely.
panel? Thank you very much. And now may we very quickly have just a look at our final challenger. Mr. Machino, I'm going to come out and join you because we don't have time to test you. I want you to meet the other part of the horse. We were going to do this to you. We've never gotten it, so we'll pick all the cards off, and my thanks to you for being our guest. Good to see you, sir. Mr. Ludwig Machino is the front part of that horse. We'll be back in just a moment, but first here is a message from Remington Rand.
Gentlemen, when you stop in at your dealers to try the man-sized Remington electric shaver, I want you to remember this fact. Not a claim, but a fact. Remington has made and sold more than 15 million electric shavers, more than any other make. Now, millions of men have switched from other makes of electric shavers to Remington. Millions of men have switched from the wet shave method to Remington. Whichever method you now use, you'll be switching from old-fashioned shaving to the one shave, the only shave that's both clean and fast. Get yourself a man-sized Remington electric shaver on the 14-day free trial plan. You'll see why so many men are sold on Remington electric shavers.
Some people just can't keep a secret. Aren't you glad? I've got a secret next. Then more probing surveys and insane answers as families fight it out on Family Feud. Stay tuned.
And now, before our panel says goodnight, may I remind you to tune in again next Sunday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time, when once again we invite you to play What's My Line. For other localities, please check your local listings for the date and time of our weekly series. And now a word from next week's sponsor.
Men, it's time to throw your weight around and demand new Mr. Stop-It, the deodorant with more power. More manpower. It took Dr. Jules Montagnier, who understands the science behind a man's needs and problems in deodorants, to create the exclusive deodorant. Manpower. Manpower is why Mr. Stop-It works every time for every man and still can't harm clothes. Get this special Mr. and Mrs. combination. You, Mr. Stop-It and regular Stop-It. $1.20 value, now only 98 cents plus tax.
And now, so that you can all go home and have a horse's neck.
That's all we have left.
Until next week, this is John Daly saying good night, Miss Dorothy.
Good night, Fred.
Good night, Arlene.
Good night. Good night, Bennett.
You remember the days when you used to have one mystery guest on this show? Good night, John.
Good night, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
Transportation for What's My Line is arranged through American Airlines, America's leading airline, serving 77 major cities throughout the United States, Canada, and Mexico. This has been a Mark Goodson-Bill Todman production in association with the CBS Television Network.